I'm with Sonia Kirby, who's the Vice President of the Planning Institute of Australia, but is here in London representing Australasia Pacific. Sonia, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yes, I've been a planner for about 12 years now, primarily working in both the public and the private sector. Currently a director with Urbis, which is a national planning firm in Australia. We've got about 300 staff. So I primarily focus on strategic planning and policy work and master planning projects.
And how many institutes are you representing here at the CAP meeting in London?
Representing about 10, so that includes Australia and New Zealand, and then a number of Pacific Island nations as well, including things like Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, etc., etc.
Thank you. And what are the common, particularly urban challenges facing your region?
The primary challenges that we have, that we're quite a diverse region, and obviously with a large portion of our membership being small island nations, they are incredibly vulnerable to issues such as climate change, population growth, and also rapid urbanisation, primarily within cultures that aren't really urban in nature. So having to deal with a lot of the social and the cultural issues that come with rapid urbanisation, actually not having the capacity or the leadership to be able to deal with some of the major issues that come along with having major population growth in their urban areas. And then in Australia and New Zealand is the challenges have been quite the same for a number of years. We've all got our issues with transport and congestion. We've all got problems regarding the ability to manage some of the urban areas that we have, being able to afford the infrastructure that's required to service those urban areas. And more and more, we do have a bit of a struggle, I suppose, in trying to get the right governance frameworks in place to be able to really ensure that all of the levels of government are able to play their role in addressing some of the urban issues. So we're struggling to get the federal government buy-in. State governments are changing their particular roles that they want to play. There's quite local government is always ending up being at the bottom end and the most responsible for planning in our urban areas, but some of the issues are just getting bigger than local governments can actually manage. So trying to achieve that balance between the leadership and guidance that's coming through from the government is certainly a major challenge that we're having to deal with.
And what about planners' role in that? What contribution can they make, and what are the challenges for them at the moment?
Some of the key challenges they have is trying to, we're in Australia in particular, and it also occurs in New Zealand, we're coming out of an era where we had quite strong growth, we had quite strong population growth, there's a lot of new housing, a lot of new development took place, a lot of investment that came into Australia. And as a consequence, the planning framework and the planning profession really responded in a way that looked at sort of managing that particular growth and using the planning frameworks, the planning systems, legislation, regulation, etc., in a way that could really manage that growth. Now, since the late 2009, 2010 with the global financial crisis, we've really had to look at changing how that planning is actually used now. We are having less investment, less development. There's lower confidence within the market for actually doing investing in infrastructure, investing in developments. The dollar needs to go further, and we're really having to change the role that planning actually plays and actually demonstrate that we're part of the solution about how to be more effective with our investment decisions, how to ensure that any decisions that are made in terms of provision of housing or provision of infrastructure are well thought out and considered in a strategic context, and brings all the partners together to really make sure that we can get the best value for investment. I think the planning profession in all of the member countries that I represent has the skills and the ability within its membership and the strategic thinking to be able to draw upon to really demonstrate that planning is essential to the solution. However, we aren't as a profession, we aren't assertive enough to be able to come forward and say, hey, we can facilitate the decision. I think we are amazing in coordinating, facilitating, and trying to seek that decision, but we're just not assertive in ensuring that we're the first people that they come to be able to identify solutions and being really proactive in that response. So I think a key challenge for our members, not only in the Australasia Pacific region, but I think it's a worldwide challenge, is being able to demonstrate the relevance of planning, how we can actually serve that facilitator, collaborator type of role, and really demonstrating the economic benefits and the financial benefits of doing so and doing that type of thinking.
So how does planners coming together in an organisation like the Commonwealth Association of Planners help that cause? It's an amazing avenue to actually share thoughts, share ideas, and also get comfort that we're not the only ones that are suffering from the same sort of challenges. There is a certain level of comfort that comes with knowing that you're not the only one, but there's also an amazing opportunity to share the knowledge that we have. I believe, I'm a bit biased, but I think Australia's got an amazing profession, an amazing wealth of talent and intellect that we can draw upon, that we certainly have responsibility to share that throughout the Commonwealth, but also learning from even some of the smaller associations and the smaller planning, the smaller nations, about how to do things better, how to do things more effective, more efficiently, how to do things more collaboratively, and being able to share in both senses of receiving and giving advice is really amazing. And also to have an organisation such as CAP being able to forge ahead and represent us at key events such as the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, UN Habitat, it really enables for the message to be coming down from that international level that feeds down to our governments as well. And it certainly supports the work that we're doing at local association level in terms of advocacy and trying to raise the profile of planning. We're doing it from the grassroots. To have an organisation such as CAP supporting it from that international level and bringing it down through our governments, it is really invaluable, and one that we really must ensure we're part of and make sure that we take the best advantage of. Thank you, Sonia.